Hi everyone, Letty here. Today I'm going to share with you my hashtag Joy of Blue collab contribution. I'm going to make as many as cards, hot cocoa packets as I can with this one 12 by 12 winter kit. So again, this is for the hashtag Joy of Blue hosted by Sarah, who's crafting and relaxing. I was fortunate enough to win one of her little rack giveaways that she hosted or that she had. And it comes with a ton of little die cuts. She mailed this, and the neat thing was that it came with just one stamp. So definitely a cute little idea. Again, this was for the hashtag Joy of Blue. I'll show in just a minute everything that comes in this one little Happy Mail pack. And then the collection kit I'm using is My Favorite Winter by Echo Park. It's just a cute kit. It has a ton of blues, so I thought this would be perfect for this hashtag Joy of Blue collab. So I'm going to be using both of these items. And then I also did bring out this winter stamp that I received from Austin Creative Reuse. It's a thrifty, crafty store, and I had bought some stamp bundles, and this was one that came in one of my stamp bundles. So I went ahead and took it out. And then I'm also using these number 10 self-seal envelopes from Dollar Tree. You get 30 to a pack, so you're able to make 60 hot cocoa packets from one box of these envelopes. And again, these are number 10 size envelopes. And I use the self-seal just to kind of save me some time. So here is what I have. So let's just do a quick flip through of the actual winter kit. This is called My Favorite Winter by Echo Park. And you see here the back of that didn't have anything. And these are 12 by 12 pages, double-sided cardstock. Here's one of the cut-aparts. It does come with 3 by 4 cut-aparts. These are cute. Again, lots of blues in this paper collection kit. This one has like a snowflake, and then this is more like branches with like berries. And then again, you've got these same kind of colors, these blues, there's a little bit of a brown, and then there's some like darker, maybe like a brick red kind of color as well. I feel like it works. I think it works well. And I think these are going to make some great projects. So in this video, I will be smashing this entire paper pack and make as many projects as I can out of it. With my main idea was to do the hot cocoa pockets. So here are the 4 by 4 cut-aparts. And what I did was last year I did something similar, and I sent to the all of the items that I made, I sent it overseas to some soldiers. And I'm planning on doing the same thing this year. So I'm prepping all of this now so that way I can send everything a couple months in advance. And then it comes with sticker sheets as well, or a sticker sheet, a 12 by 12 stickers, cardstock stickers, just like normal for these kits. Just some cute little patterns. There's some critters in here, and then a bunch of fun sayings. So again, that was the My Favorite Winter collection by Echo Park. So let me go through the contents that came in Sarah's die cut pack. So again, this was for her hashtag Joy of Blue. You see there, she included some word thanks. And I think these are great. These are going to be great with this collection. Love that holographic print on the Get Well. Really cute. So what I thought was with some of these, I would just send them along, and that way they could give them to each other if somebody was not feeling great, or if they wanted to send a thank you to somebody, or they could kind of send some to each other as well. So I'll make some cards to send to them directly, and then some for them to give to each other. So again, that was Sarah from Crafting and Relaxing. And here is just a little bit of a close-up on some of the ones that I took out really quickly at the end. So you see here just some cute die cuts. They're very, some of them are kind of dimensional, some of them are more flat, some are small, some are large. You've got just a kind of a plethora of kind of just different things here. So thank you so much, Sarah. Again, I was so excited to win that from your giveaway. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down this 12 by 12 collection kit paper pack. So I'm basically sorting through the papers, and I am going to push aside the cut apart sheets, because generally I always use my cut aparts for cut aparts. Now, depending on the size. So, and then you also are going to want to look at some of these papers to kind of start to decide which sides you like better. And if you're not sure of something, just put it aside and you can always get to it and make a decision on it later. No big deal. Your 3 by 4 cut aparts are going to be perfect for A2 size cards. The 4 by 4s are going to be perfect for our hot cocoa pockets. So again, I'm planning on making some card mats with some of the solid papers, and then I'm going to use the cut aparts and the stickers to embellish my projects that I'm going to make today. So I am definitely going to be using these 3 by 4s for the A2 size. I'm not real sure what's going to happen with this sheet yet. This one's a 4 by 6 cut aparts. And then definitely these 4 by 4s will definitely be for my hot cocoa pocket mats to make hot cocoa pockets. So next what we'll do is I'm going to cut up all the cut aparts off camera just to kind of save some time. So I have my 3x4 cut aparts and my 4x4 cut aparts. They are ready to use. They are now ready to go. Let's go ahead and cut up these envelopes to prep the hot cocoa pocket bases. So again, these are the number 10 envelopes. Basically what we'll do is we'll cut these down to where you have a perfect square of 4 1/8 by 4 1/8. Because the height of the envelope is 4 1/8. So first thing you'll do is you'll remove the seal it down, and then you'll cut it, and then you decorate it. It's super straightforward, and I will go much slower in just a second as we actually do it. I just wanted to show you a quick overview. It's very quick and easy to make these hot cocoa pockets, and you just decorate both sides if you want, or you can decorate one side, either way. So let's go ahead and make the base. So first thing, remove the seal to actually, or the strip to seal it down. And it's okay if it comes up a little bit because we will be covering that, that end. And then you see here that the actual dimension of the envelope is 4 1/8. So I'm going to make it into a perfect square by cutting it down to 4 1/8 by 4 1/8. And that'll create 2 pockets. So I'm just going to use my guillotine paper trimmer. This one's from Hobby Lobby. It's a Paper Studio brand. And I'm going to basically cut at 4 1/8 on each of the sides, making sure to keep the closed side for each of my pockets. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it down to 4 1/8. And that'll create my first pocket. And it's 4 1/8 by 4 1/8. You can see here. And again, it's okay if it's not fully sealed. We're going to be covering it. And then the second one is a little slightly larger. So I'm just going to make sure that I have the open side towards the blade of my paper trimmer. And I'm going to cut it again to 4 1/8, which will make my second pocket. And I will have a little scrap left over. You could use this as a belly band for something or some other type of project. So you get 2 pockets from 1 envelope. Now I did go ahead and make off the remaining pockets off camera. I just broke down the rest of my box of envelopes. So all of my pockets are now ready. Now I am going to be using solid cardstock just to make the backs of the hot cocoa packs. I find that it stretches the paper of a pack if you do this. So I'm going to use 8.5 by 11 paper, but it actually is better if you use 12 by 12 paper because you can cut it down to 4 by 4 inches a lot easier. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut my blue paper and also my regular paper down to 4 by 4, and then I will finish decorating them just like this. So that's just a quick sample. I'm going to walk through a little slower right now how we cut everything down. So I did go ahead and cut the backs of my papers or the backs of my hot cocoa pockets off camera, which was just my solid cardstock. I just cut it down to 4 by 4. Now, then I'm going to go ahead and cut my regular pattern papers down to 4 by 4 as well. And you see there where if you're using double-sided paper, you have double options. Remove the branding strip. These collection kits usually always come with a branding strip, so I just go ahead and take it off. And then you're basically going to cut this paper down to 4 by 4. So you're going to cut at 4 and then cut again at 4 and then flip it and then cut at 4 again and again. So you'll have basically 9 squares of 4 by 4 from every 12 by 12 piece of paper. And this is why I said it's better if you're going to be using solid cardstock, use a 12 by 12 sheet. I just went ahead and used what I had, which was this 8.5 by 11 paper as well. So we basically have our hot cocoa pocket bases, our back mats, our front mats, and our embellishments all ready to go. It's ready for an assembly line process to make these hot cocoa pockets. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, we're going to basically glue the back mat to the hot cocoa pocket. And I usually do it on the sealed side. So you see how that's a flat side, and then you have where you have that overflap. I'm going to cover that because that's going to be towards the back. Now, if you only wanted to seal one side or only wanted to put one side down, then I would cover that side with your front. So that way your solid back wouldn't be showing. And then basically you just add the front mat down, and then you can go ahead and add the final embellishments. And again, I stamped and colored this stamp set off camera. It did not come with this kit, but I thought it would be a good option to have as a focal point on these hot cocoa pockets since it's a square. And I had thought it would be a great idea to just go ahead and add that as my focal point on these pockets. So there is what the hot cocoa pocket looks like. That's what it looks like. Then you just repeat the process with all of the other ones. So one of the tips that I can give you when you're assembly lining is do all of the same process over and over. So do all of the backs, glue down all of your backs to your hot cocoa pockets, and then switch gears and glue all of the fronts. This just makes it so much easier. So see here now I'm shifting gears and I'm gluing down all of my fronts. It just makes it so much more straightforward. It's easier to just kind of do this and relax and not have to worry about so many different steps, because you're basically just doing a repeat step over and over. You can actually further embellish, and you can do that in a third step if you'd like. So I'm just kind of gluing down all of my hot cocoa pocket fronts. I've already glued the backs, and we're just assembly lining this process. So the assembly line process can be used for pretty much any kind of crafting, not just on cards. So here are all my hot cocoa pockets. I have the fronts and the backs glued down. One thing that I saw was you can actually also hand draw borders or stitching on your projects. And I've done this on cards. So I went ahead and added them some borders to these hot cocoa pockets as well. You see here that my stamp had like kind of like a whimsical little border around the edge, and I thought it'd be cute just to go ahead and add a little hand-drawn border around the actual hot cocoa pocket as well. And so if you're using light colored paper, you'd want to use like a black or a darker colored marker or pen. If you're using a darker colored paper, you're going to want to use a white. So here I'm taking out my number 10 Jelly Roll white pen, and you saw there that I used my Micron 8 for the black piece. So just like that, I mean, super straightforward. And look how much just added dimension it gives you, depth to that project. So I've gone ahead and I've drawn all of my borders off camera on all of the images, including the images that were already 4x4 cut aparts from the collection kit. I went ahead and added a border to those as well. And again, you could do faux stitching if you'd rather have stitching. You could just hand draw the little lines. So next we're going to do is formulate a plan with the remaining papers, kind of break down what we have left, figure out what we want to do now that the first project is out of the way. And so you see here that I have everything kind of laid out. I have my cut aparts. I have those die cuts from Sarah, which I will be using for the cards as well. I'm going to cut down these scraps down to 3x4 because they're already 4 inches wide. And then these larger pieces, I'm going to go ahead and cut them down to my mats. Now I'm going to decide which paper I want for my mini slimline card mats and which ones I want for my A2 size card mats. And so that's what you see me doing here, just kind of matching with the die cuts, because I do want to use Sarah's die cuts for my mini slimline cards. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut up these little scraps down to 3x4 because that's the perfect size to kind of layer on your A2 size cards. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of do them kind of catty corner behind some of my 3x4 cut aparts. So I'm just cutting down these scraps until I get all of my scraps cut up. And then I'm going to take out the 12x12 papers, and first thing I'm going to do is take off that binding strip, and then I'm going to cut down at 6 inches, flip it, cut it down at another 6 inches for my mini slim lines. Super straightforward, and I'm going to do it again here in just a second. So I'll take out another sheet. You basically take off the branding strip, and then what you'll do is you're going to cut at 6 inches, and then flip and cut at another 6 inches. That's going to give you 4 pieces of 6x6 paper. Determine which way you want your cards to go, and then cut at 3 inches. So now we're going to do the A2 size card mats. So remove the branding strip, cut it down to 5 1/4, then 5 1/4 again. You're going to have some strips left over, save those. Then cut at 4 inches twice. So you'll cut at 4 inches and then again at 4 inches. And that's going to give you 6 mats per 12x12 sheet. So our mat is 4 by 5 1/4 for the A2 size card. And then for mini slimline, it's 3x6. So now let's make our card bases. So I'm taking out some 8.5 by 11 solid colored cardstock. For an A2 size card, you just basically cut it in half and then fold it. So your option 1 is to cut at 5.5 on the 11-inch side of your paper and then fold it in half, which is what I'm doing here, or you can cut at 4 1/4 on your 8.5-inch side. So for mini slimlines, it's a little different. On the 11-inch side, cut at 6.5, and then go ahead and you'll have a scrap there. Then go ahead and turn it on the 8.5-inch side and cut it at 6 1/4. And that's going to be your card base. Now, it's important that you measure this. Make sure you are going to be looking for the 6.5-inch side because that's the side you're going to be folding. And then you just varnish with the bone folder. And that is your mini slimline card base. So I've gone ahead and made my card bases off camera, just following those same instructions I just gave you. So I've got my A2 card bases, my A2 card mats that I've already cut up. Okay. And then I also have my mini slimline card bases and my mini slimline card mats as well that I've already cut up. Now, I still have a couple of little strips, and I do have that 4x6 cut apart. So with these little strips, I'm going to basically cut them down to 6 inches because I thought they'd be perfect to kind of layer on top of the mini slimline card mats. So I'm just going to take these 12-inch strips and just really quickly cut them in half at 6 inches. And I had 3 strips, so I'll cut those down. So now my mini slimlines are ready. I have one little scrap. I'm going to just throw it in there with my A2s. And then I have this one 6x4 or the 4x6 cut aparts. I really did not want to make larger cards. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut these down to make more A2 size card bases. And then I'll finish everything off camera. So let's just do a quick recap. I went ahead and I used up all of Sarah's die cuts. I used up all of the 12x12 sticker sheet that came with the collection kit. Again, this was my favorite winter. Used up everything here. Then I did use all the paper from the collection kit, except for these little branding strips, which I don't always find that these are usable. So I did use the piece that was in the center with the patterned paper, but otherwise I smashed the entire pack, and I ended up with 37 hot cocoa packets. I'm just going to quickly breeze through these because these are pretty straightforward, and the backs are all just a solid color. You see here where I drew that line on each of the cards. And again, this is for the hashtag Joy of Blue collab, hosted by Sarah, who is Crafting and Relaxing on YouTube and Crafting and Relaxing on Instagram. So just some fun little hot cocoa pockets. Nothing fancy, just fun. And I'll stuff a hot cocoa pack in there and send it out. Then I have the 16 mini slimline cards, and I did use Sarah's die cuts that she sent me as part of her giveaway that I had won. And so you see here, I think they just turned out great. And you see that I also did do the border, the hand-drawn border line on these as well. You see they're the white border, and then I used the black pen on the other lighter colored paper. So, and I did add a couple stickers on some of these just to kind of finish out my pack. And then I ended up with 24 A2 size cards. So again, you see here, I'm drawing my borders, I'm adding stickers. I didn't add anything else except for the cardstock and what came in the collection kit, and then what Sarah had sent. And then of course the stamp. And I had a couple of note cards, and then I also had a couple of just little sticker embellishment clusters at the corners of those. And otherwise, I ended up with using all of my items to make these cards, again, with blue as the emphasis, or the joy of blue as the emphasis. You see here, I actually drew little bitty dots on those, on the darker areas. So I ended up with 37 hot cocoa packets, 40 cards for 77 total items for the hashtag Joy of Blue. I used a couple of different pens. I used a wooden block stamp, a red rubber stamp. And then I also ended up using some of the Dollar Tree envelopes to make my hot cocoa pockets. Again, the collection was My Favorite Winter by Echo Park. And again, this was for the hashtag Joy of Blue. Thank you so much, Sarah, for hosting and for sending me these die cuts. They were awesome. They were perfect for this project. So thanks for visiting, everyone. Hope you subscribe, like this video, follow me on Instagram, and as always, happy crafting.